Uh, the Polish government was permitted to establish an army on Russian soil.
Correct.
Um,
That was earlier.
and earlier, um, there were and still are many allegations of rampant anti-Semitism in that army. What do you know about that?
Well, I knew about that it all started. Well, this was a very sad situation, very difficult situation, because, and this was a not so much question of evacuation, a question of admission to the army, because there's no question that the army is going to be evacuated. That was the idea. A few days ago, here in this very room, I was interviewed by one Colonel Jurga, who is making a film, Szlakiem Berka Joselewicza, about the Jewish participation in the Polish military effort. I gave him the story, also told to him that in Polish. That was a question, as I said, originally when the army, it was decided by, I think already by Majewski-Sikorski agreement that there will be a Polish army in Russia, but the army was meant to fight on the German front, to fight Germans. Now, when this army started being formed from all these people who came from these concentrations camp, from the lag, from gulags and so on, it became obvious, I believe, to everybody that this is impossible to create armies from these people, to create army that would go to the Western Front and fight Germans. The official excuse was the army needs, first of all, they need recovery. The people were invalids, more or less. After winter, almost 2 years, don't forget, they were deported in 39. It was 41, almost 2 years of prisons or of gulags. People were in a absolutely terrible shape. What is more important from my point of view, not more but not less important, was that the people were so hateful of Soviet. I personally believe that if this army had been sent to the German front under Russian commando, terrible things would have happened. I don't believe those people would fight Germans under Soviet command. It's inconceivable. Inconceivable. Those people didn't know Germans occupation. They were not Jews. I mean, non-Jews were absolutely unaware. Even Jews were unaware of what's going on in Poland. But non-Jews, certainly for them, the enemy number one was Soviet Union. For me, from my point of view, I thought this, if they are going to be sent to the German front, that will be ultimate disaster, because people will cross the German lines or desert. This will be absolutely unacceptable situation. Of course, this is my own reasoning, which is not officially confirmed or accepted anywhere. But what was stated was that these people need some peace, need some rest, and they should be evacuated to warmer climate in order to recover, and then can fight with German on other fronts, under Allied commando, not under Russian. And I think that's absolutely correct decision. So the army was formed in the southern region of Soviet Union, and they were told that they will be evacuated. So this created a philosophy of sauve-qui-peut, of let everybody, this means leaving the Soviet Union. Let us say, face the fact, that was the main thing. People were not extremely anxious to go fight Germans, as Polish mythology says sometimes. People were anxious to leave Soviet Union in the first place. And for all of them, question of leaving Soviet Union or staying in Soviet Union was question of survival, because they were afraid of this new winter and new hardships and so on. So when there is now limited, the number of people whom Poles were permitted to enlist was limited. It was matter of haggling, matter of bargaining. But I think originally it started even less. But well, there are books about that, so you can check them. In my opinion, it ultimately went up to 40,000 rations, because each soldier had to be given by Soviet army ration, military ration, bread simply. And subsidies for living. They had to eat. It was Russia, they were hungry in Russia. So if you create a situation that a limited number of people can join the army and thus save their lives, obviously it started a situation that who gets on this boat. And under unquestionable existing anti-Semitism among Poles, which was not decreased by what happened in '39, on the contrary, was blown up a little bit. So, and then here this incredibly tempting situation when Soviet authorities say that they are not citizens. So superimposed on Polish anti-Semitism, the Soviet conception of citizenship created an absolutely unacceptable situation. People were simply trampling to get to the living boat as a citizen. I don't know who is to blame. The fact is, ultimately, I don't think that Soviet authorities cared too much who is going to be enlisted in the Polish army. I don't believe this selection was going as deep as at the level of, as Shapiro describes it, at the level of the admitting commissions and things like that. No, it was more reserved for the higher echelons, for discussion of frontiers, of problems of high politics. But on the lower level, it was accepted as excuse not to accept Jews to the Polish army.